What's up, everyone? It's Luke James, not the singer. If you're looking to get your music reviewed, you can hit up this email. That's right here. And welcome to the very first episode of The Rundown. This is a new segment I'll be doing this year where what I'm doing is going over some of the songs, projects, albums, and tapes that I missed and didn't get around to fully reviewing. So I will still be doing those full reviews, the indie reviews, and some rant reviews once in a while, but this way I can really keep up to date with some of the shit that's been dropping and also come through with some more of the requests that you guys send to me, because these are going to be some albums that you guys ask for. And again, I just don't have time to review everything, so this is kind of my catch-up segment. I'm not going to do it monthly. I'm just going to do it whenever I find myself with 5 or 6 projects or songs to discuss. So this should be a lot of fun, and we are going to jump right into it, starting with Yasiin Bey's album December 99th. Now, Yasiin Bey is known as Mos Def. Well, he was known as Mos Def back in the day, and we all know Mos for some of his contributions like Black on Both Sides and Black Star, 2 really great albums. But this shit right here, whew, man, this very easily could have and should have made my worst list of 2016, because this is just really, really bad. But again, I didn't get around to this, so that's why it's part of the segment. And the reason I found this so bad is because the singing is just pitchy and croaky throughout. His rapping is very drowsy and mumbly. There's a little bit of lo-fi shit going on with this audio quality as well. And the production is just sort of weird, gloomy, and experimental. It's not that I think these beats are all out trash, but they're not overly memorable either. And when you take these gloomy, depressing, dreary sort of beats and mix them up with that style he's using, it is just really bad, man. Like, I wasn't expecting Mos Def to come with the heat because he kind of been gone for quite a while and his discography isn't that tight. But this shit right here was even worse than I was expecting. And it's kind of like if you went on Facebook to look up that hot girl that you remember from high school, but then she looked like Honey Boo Boo's mom. And if you don't know what she looks like, just draw a face on your thumb, and that's pretty much what it is. This was just a big letdown. This is not what I wanted to hear from such a big name artist who gave us some gems. This really just sounded like something that an amateur rapper has put together. So I would give this one a 1.5 out of 5. Up next, we're going to talk about Charles Hamilton's album, Hamilton Charles. And first of all, I'm just glad that he's happy and healthy and back to making music. And I thought this was a solid follow-up to that Black Box EP that he did drop back in 2016. Now, I didn't think this album was amazing or great, but it is solid because the production is on point. There's a little bit of variety on there, although some of the songs might seem a bit out of place, like that dancey disco track and also that rock and roll track. But there's still some nice beats on here. And bar-wise, I think he still has it, man. He still has a good flow, and he is bringing some content about his past, his struggles with mental illness, police brutality, racism. So you are going to get some social commentary, some personal stuff, some political content on here, just like most rappers are bringing these days. But it's just good to hear back from Charles. But I'm hoping maybe we can get a mixtape from him with that classic sampling and chopping that we all love him for, because that's what this project is missing. But of course, with the label, you're going to have some politics, some sample clearance issues, and that type of shit. So I'm sure that's why he wasn't coming with that style. But this is still worth checking out, and I would give this one a 3 out of 5. And now, we need to talk about this N9ne album called The Storm, because this one has been heavily requested, but honestly, I listened through it. This shit was like 30 plus tracks, counting the deluxe edition, so it was like 2 hours, maybe a little bit over, and I really just didn't want to take all the time to break the shit down, because frankly, I didn't really enjoy it, and this just sounds like that typical album that N9ne has been making for a while now. It's way too long, it's not cohesive as far as the sound, because you're going to get some beats that sound like some DJ Mustard shit, maybe some more traditional hip-hop stuff on here, some rock and roll tracks. It's just all over the place, and you know, he's still doing that rapping and singing style that he's known for. You can't hate on his technical skills, and sometimes the hooks are alright, but it's also just loaded with features. This just felt like a very long compilation. I thought this thing was very jumbly, not cohesive, and sloppy. But if you are a Strange Music fan, I'm sure you're going to love this, because I know how die-hard that fan base is. But for me, this just felt like a long-ass car ride in an overcrowded car. Like, you might see some good scenery along the way, or in other words, you might pick up on some decent beats and bars, but for the most part, it's just like you're driving in this tight, overstuffed, stuffy car to a destination you don't want to go. Like, you're on this long-ass trip, and then when you get to the destination, you're just like, I didn't even want to come on this trip, and I wish I had my time back. That's what this album felt like, although I will say that Joyner Lucas was the MVP of this shit, because he absolutely snapped on Sriracha. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from Joyner this year. He's been snapping on pretty much everything that he's getting on. But this album for me wasn't something that I think was trash. I damn sure don't think it's great, so I would go with a 2.5 out of 5. It's just your typical average N9ne shit. Check it out if you love N9ne, but if you're like me and you've kind of gotten bored with him over the years, well, you're not going to miss anything if you skip out on this. The fourth project we're going to talk about is Dom Kennedy and Hit Boy's Half a Mil EP. Now, that last Dom Kennedy album, Los Angeles Is Not For Sale Volume 1, has been getting a lot of flack because it has that lo-fi sound and Dom just sounded incredibly lazy on it. But this EP came before that. The lo-fi quality isn't there, so the audio is on point. Dom is rapping with a bit more energy. Hit Boy is doing his thing on there as well. And there's even some good production on this one. So this was nothing amazing as far as content, bars, and lyricism. But sonically, I thought this sounded really dope. I think it's well worth the listen. And that song, Workin', in particular, is really dope, man. I actually like that track quite a bit. So I would give this a 3 out of 5. It's pretty solid for what it is. Just a short EP. And it's much better than that other album that Dom Kennedy gave us. Up next, we're going to talk about these 2 Tory Lanez mixtapes that he dropped just at the start of the year. The first one, Chixtape 4, is basically just him remixing / ruining classic hits from the early 2000s like Ignition, What's Love, I Need a Girl, and One Call Away. So he's just on here doing that overproduced singing that we know Tory Lanez always does. So vocally and as far as the songwriting, this shit is not that strong, and it really makes you just want to go back and listen to the originals because they're so much better. I mean, if you're a younger person who didn't come up on these tracks, it might not bother you as much, but if you're like me and you did come up on those tracks, like when you were in high school, at the club or whatever, you're going to hear these and kind of feel like he's just taking something you love and making it worse because he's not doing anything better on these tracks. It's just like if someone took something that you really cared about and then fucked it up. Like maybe you bought a new puppy and then someone picked that bitch up and then punched it right in the face. So I wasn't feeling this one too much. I would give it a 2 out of 5, but I would give the new Toronto a 3 out of 5 because I think it's much better. It's really just the same old shit from Tory Lanez. Sounds a lot like that last album that he dropped, but there are some nice bangers on here, man. You're just going to get some auto-tune synthy bangers that you expect from Tory Lanez. Although I do have to say there are a couple songs on here where he's just rapping without auto-tune, and those tracks actually impressed me quite a bit. So I liked hearing him go with that style on some of these songs. I know he does it on some of his other projects as well, but it stuck out to me on here. And of course, man, we got ASAP Ferg on here rapping about putting his thumb up a girl's butt. So I thought we were going to leave that trend in 2016, but apparently not, because it's 2017 and rappers still want to stick their digits up some goddamn asses. Dirty, dirty boys. Now, lastly, we got to talk about T.I.'s album, Us or Else, Letter to the System. And I admit it, man, I kind of slept on this one because he dropped that EP called Us or Else, which was really dope. And then with this album, he just took that EP and added some more tracks to make it into a full-length album. So I was really worried that this was just going to be a bunch of filler tracks thrown on, kind of like a quick cash grab, like let's just fill this project out and get it out there. But I was way off base because all the additional songs on here are fire and they actually fit nicely with that EP because he's still bringing that social commentary, that politically charged content that he had on that Us or Else EP. The beats are dope, the features are on point, even some of these artists who I'm not overly familiar with, like Trans Lee, there are great hooks. This is just a really dope project overall, man. So if you were doing what I was doing and kind of skipping out on it because you thought it wouldn't be that cohesive and solid, don't make that mistake, man. Check the shit out. It is really dope. It might have even made my top 20 if I had got to it in time. It would have been really damn close. So I give this one a 4 out of 5. And there we have it. The very first episode of The Rundown is in the books. As usual, hit up the comment section with your thoughts on all these albums, maybe one of them, 2 of them, 3 of them, whichever ones you want to speak on. And make sure you do all that good YouTube and social media stuff, man, where you like my videos, you share them, you follow me on Twitter, you retweet the videos, and of course, man, you got to subscribe to the channel and click like on that Facebook page. Thank you for watching, everybody. I will see you next time.